In this video, we are going to focus on the completion of the VAT Control Account. Jumbo Traders is a registered VAT vendor with a Category A tax period and accounts for VAT on the invoice basis. On 1 January 2018, the VAT Control Account of Jumbo Traders showed a credit balance of 3,176,000 Rand. Now, the VAT Control Account is about what we owe SARS or what SARS owes to us. If we owe SARS money, then it will be a liability, so we will have to credit. If SARS owes us money, it will be an asset and we will have to debit the VAT Control Account. So we are given now a summary of the totals of the journals of Jumbo Traders for January 2018. Now, it's not expected of you to draw up the journals. The only thing that you have to do is to be able, if journals are given to you, to in fact post it to the VAT Control Account. In fact, what happens in our journals, we just add in all of the journals a VAT Control column. So we have to post from that VAT Control column to the VAT Control Account. So firstly, we have the cash receipts journal. Now, that is when we sell goods. It's a summary of all the goods that we sold for cash. So if we sell goods, we will raise VAT on it. So we will owe SARS the VAT. So we will therefore have to credit the VAT Control Account with 18,060 Rand. So first of all, before doing that, we just need to look at the information that was given. We were given a credit balance of 3176. So firstly, we will need on the credit side the balance brought down of 3176, and now we can post from that cash receipts journal also to the credit side. Bank will be the contra entry as the money in our bank increase, assets increase on the debit side. We know for each credit we have a debit. So cash payments journal, opposite in a sense of the cash receipts journal. Now our bank will decrease, assets decrease on the credit side. Therefore we will have to debit another account, namely the VAT Control Account. So we will debit VAT Control Account, and bank is the contra entry, the name of the other account that will be credited. The petty cash journal, in a sense, similar to the cash payments journal, only thing is it's a summary of all the small amounts that we pay to suppliers, amongst other things. So we will also have to therefore debit the VAT Control Account, as it will be an input tax, and we will credit the petty cash. So another debit for VAT Control, as it's an input, we will credit petty cash. The debtors journal, well, in a sense it's related to the cash receipts journal in that in both instances we are selling products. Only difference is we are now selling on credit. So it will give rise to an output tax or output VAT. So therefore we owe SARS more. So we will have to credit the VAT Control Account, and we have to debit another account, namely debtors control. The creditors journal, in a sense, the opposite of the debtors journal. So if debtors journal was an output, creditors journal is an input, because we now purchase, but now not for cash, but on credit. So our inputs reduce how much we owe SARS, so we will have to debit the VAT control, credit the creditors control. So debit VAT control, as it's an input, creditors control is the name of the other account we will credit. Debtors allowance journal, that is now in a sense the opposite of the debtors journal. Debtors journal when we were selling, so it resulted in an output, we owed SARS more. So debtors allowances means we will owe SARS less. This is also actually our VAT adjustments, so we will have to therefore debit our VAT control account as we owe SARS less. So debit VAT control account, and we have to credit another account, namely debtors control, as debtors owe us now less. Now, the creditors allowance in the sense opposite of debtors allowances. You can also see it in a sense as opposite to the creditors. So when we purchase goods, it's an input VAT. So we will owe less to SARS. Therefore, the creditors allowances is the opposite. It's also an adjustment. We will now owe more to SARS. So therefore, we will have to credit the VAT control account, and creditors control is the name of the account that we will debit, as we owe our creditors less money due to the discounts that was allowed. And then finally, the general journal, there could be debits and credits. It form part of the so-called journal debits and journal credits. So we will debit the VAT control account with the debits. We will credit the VAT control account with the credits. So we debit it with the debits. Journal debits is the name of the other account. It's a collective. And then journal credits on the credit side. Now we can total up to see which side is the biggest side. In this particular case, the credit side is bigger. 18 plus 3 is 21. We have about 14,000 on the debit side. So we still need something on the debit side. It's the balance carry down of 7467. It's the 22,559 minus all these various credits, result in the balance of 7467 that we will draw down on the first of the next month on the credit side. And since it's a credit balance, we are in fact owing SARS. So the VAT is payable to SARS. And in terms of our financial statements, we will have to pay SARS within a short period of time, so it is part of our current liabilities. If it was a debit balance, SARS was owing us, and we will include it as part of our current assets. Now, it's also possible to just give a list of transactions instead of all the various journals. So now you would actually need to know in which kind of journal each of these transactions belong. So we're not going to go through it in detail. I just want to point out one or two aspects. So If we look, for example, at our CRJ of 21,812, it would be the result of a few various transactions. Because there's the VAT on the cash sales, there was the VAT on the rent income, and there was the VAT on the equipment sold. All of those were cash transactions. So we had to, in fact, you would in brackets show your calculation of how you got to the 21,812. Similarly, for your CPJ, there were a few different transactions that belonged there. So also in brackets you would indicate 11,592 plus 6,954 because we had VAT on cash purchases of goods as well as VAT on certain expenses we paid. So there it's not a one-to-one relation. You will have to add some things in brackets if you are given the transactions instead of the journals. That's the main point of contention I wanted to point out.